So today we're taking over the Detroit Tigers because I feel like this team, it's been at the bottom of MLB for quite some time, but you know what? They've got some decent young players that could potentially speed up this rebuild. Pitching, you got Tarek Skubal, who looks to be an absolute ace. And then Riley Green on offense is easily their best player. But then you got Colt Keith, Jace Young, Justin Henry Malloy was recently called up. You still got Max Clark for the future. And there's a couple other sneaky prospects. Obviously on the pitching side of things, you got Jackson Jobe, who I believe is injured currently, but for the future, I mean, that guy looks nasty. So with that all being said, let's go take over the Tigers. Let's go win them a World Series. All right, I already know what you're going to ask me. What roster am I using? I'm using the same one that I used in the Reds rebuild, which I tell you within the first like couple minutes. So if you're looking for a roster, go look at it. It is missing some moves. There are some contracts that are wrong, and I've tweaked a couple things. So like, it's not the same exact roster as that one, but that's the one that I'm using as like a base roster, and then I'm just kind of keeping it up to date with transactions, contracts, moves, and all that stuff. So I don't know. I feel like rosters this year, the good ones are really tough to find, and I just kind of feel like a lot of people are overrating a lot of players based on just this small sample size that we have this year already. So rosters are pretty difficult to find. But let me talk to you about what we're gonna do with our roster for the first season with this Tigers squad. So this is currently what we're looking like pitching wise, and then Casey Mize is gonna be our long reliever. Bullpen like this. Honestly, bullpen's probably gonna change a bunch. Those bottom part of the rotation is probably gonna change a bunch, just because outside of like Skubal and maybe Reese Olson, I'm not too attached to a lot of the pitchers in this team. You know, I just don't feel like there's a lot of players that I'm like, you know what, they're part of my future going forward. Obviously, we have Jackson Jobe, or it could be Joby. I believe it's Jobe. Either way, we have him for the future, so I'm definitely keeping my eye out for him. And we'll see how other players start to develop as we go forward. Sorry, Gibson Long was another one that I believe he's dealing with a forearm issue right now. I'm not too sure if that meant that he had an elbow injury or anything like that, or if they're just resting him. But he was another one that could have fought for that starting rotation on opening day this year. And then if we take a look at the lineup, this is currently what we're rocking with. I've mentioned Riley Green. He's definitely the best player on the team currently. But boy, oh boy, what happened to him? Oh, what happened to him? Easily my favorite Cub while he was there. And he just forgot how to play baseball. But there's a couple other players here. We got Colt Keith, we've got Jace Young, and there's a few others that we'll talk about as they start to progress closer to MLB ready. But I like this team. We've got plenty of money to play with moving forward. There has been one change in a contract, and that's been the extension of Skubal. As you can see, I gave him a 7-year deal, but I front loaded it so that way later on in the rebuild we'd have a little bit more money. So we're looking good. He's not going anywhere for the rest of the rebuild, and outside of that, we're pretty good on the money. Let me show you. Like, we've only 2026, we've only got 50 mil on the books. It's pretty good for us. So without that being said, let's get to the draft. Let's go see what we can do with this team. All right, so we're in the draft. I'm feeling pretty good. We've got 11, 12. What pick do we have? 11, I think. 11. So this is my thought process. We've got some good pitchers here. Yamashita looks pretty good. Emmett Wood looks pretty good. We've got Joe Nielsen, also looks pretty good. And then Brian Kuo, who also pretty good. And we'll finish it off with Larry Bruno. You get it. Pretty good. I really want one of these two outfielders though. Fernando DaCosta looks unbelievable. Probably my pick if I could get one. Potential is probably going to be close to 90. Probably going to be in the 60s. Close to MLB ready. This guy looks legit. Speed, reaction, decent fielding, good hitting. No power, but I feel like the rest of the numbers speak for themselves. And then this one's probably going to be a little bit more of a reach just because he's currently ranked 60th, but we have him at 35th. My thing is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him in the second round. And also, position players are usually difficult to find later on in the draft. So if I can get a position player right off the rip round one and then worry about pitching later, I'm perfectly fine reaching on the first pick. Thing is, I don't know if his potential is going to be that great. I don't know if his overall is going to be as good as DaCosta. So this is kind of like plan A, plan B, and then kind of like plan C for all of these pitchers. And then this guy's a guy that I scouted, hopefully that he can make it to us in the next round. I do think we need a little bit of outfield help. That's kind of why I'm focusing on these two. So let's see what happens. Plus, we can also just sign pitching. I feel like it's easier to sign pitching than it is to sign other positions in free agency. So let's see what we get here. Cal Sampson went number 1. I think we had him at number 8 on our board. Eric Burke went number 2. which we actually had him at number 2. And then the Rockies, who are they going to choose with the 3rd pick of the draft? It is Emmett Wood. So there's one of our pitchers off the board. Up to our pick, and sadly, DaCosta went. Dang, that's tough. That's tough. So I think that makes the choice easier for me. I am going to go with Iglesias. I know it is a bit of a reach, but if we take a look, you're going to see here, scouted just pitching. We have plenty of pitchers for later on in the draft. And then if you look at what I have for later on in the draft for like position players, like I could go this guy. Oh, am I about to just, man, am I gonna make myself not draft this outfielder now and hope that I can get one later on in the draft? Am I really about to do that? Am I really about to do this? Am I? I don't think I should. I don't want that catcher. What about this guy? Maybe I'll throw him on the board. Do we need pitching or do we need offense? I can't. I made up my mind. Ruben Iglesias, you're a Tiger. All right, next pick, 48. It looks like a lot of our guys got taken. Ryan Calvert got chosen. I mean, that potential looks like it's going to be in the 80s, but you know what? Okay, really good contact numbers. That's kind of why I was drawn to him. But I guess with that in mind, we'll go a different direction. And I guess we are going to go another position player. Just who? Do we go catcher? Do we really have a catcher in the farm system? He looks like he's more of a glove first catcher. So do I want a fielding position player that's a low overall? Or do I want something that's a little bit more spread out? Looks like he's going to have a little bit of pop. Huh. What's our next pick? 71. Let's see who's potentially going to be there. Maybe him and maybe him. So I think we're going to take Dominguez right now and then see if those other guys make it to us in our next pick, which they both do. Okay, I'm going to take a look at pitchers really quickly just to see if I'm missing out on anybody, which ooh, hold on. We might. Per nines aren't looking too great. This might be like the first draft that I don't take a pitcher, which would be crazy. But I feel like there's a lot better position players than I was expecting. Do I take this catcher, or do I take the position player, the outfielder? I'm going to take another outfielder because I'm crazy and I don't think this guy is going to be that great. So I'm gonna take the outfielder. This guy might not even be that great either. Next up, he's still available. Even better. Give me Demetrius Cortez. And now from this point on, I don't really know who I'm gonna take because I really wasn't expecting to take this many position players. I guess we take pitchers. I guess. I'm just gonna finish out the draft because I didn't really expect that. All right, so am I at the deadline? I always say that I am at the deadline and then I'm not. I basically am. We won't go to the deadline just yet. We are 53 and 55, so we're 9 games out of the division, but we're actually in the wild card race, 3.5 games. So I'm not gonna full send it, but I am going to try to acquire players that are going to at least make it interesting to see if we can make a push. Torkelson was bad. I sent him down like they did in real life, and this is currently what we're rocking with here. It's only been 40 at-bats for Malloy, but the leash is gonna be a little bit tight. So like if he continues to struggle, we're gonna send him back to AAA and go from there. But the rest of the team, you know what, kind of holding their own, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then I've DFA'd Kenta Maeda. Hopefully we can find somewhere to send him because it's not looking great for him. So with that in mind, I'm going to send Casey Mize over here. We're going to rock like that for the new rotation. And I'm going to get a first baseman because we clearly need one. And the Marlins have one because they are terrible. Should be able to trade for him. And then I found out that Buddy Kennedy is not on the Tigers anymore. So we'll just send them Buddy Kennedy and make that deal. And then this is just a little like, hey, I might need a shortstop, so let's just have a little bit of a backup, and it's gonna be Leo Jimenez of the Blue Jays, who in AAA is actually having a pretty decent season. He's not slugging a lot, but the numbers, the average on base percentage look decent. Also the attributes look pretty good too. So especially with Javi Baez, who's honestly, for Javi Baez, not having a bad season, but at the same time, like I can't rely on him. So just in case we need somebody to step in at some point, Leo Jimenez is there. We could always sign somebody too, but at least we'll have someone that looks like they'll be able to hit at a major league level soon. So we're gonna get rid of Carson Kelly and Cole Turner just because I don't need 2 catchers that can't hit, even though Carson Kelly is slightly better at hitting currently. I just feel like we can call up Dylan Dingler or we can call up Ben Boom to be the backup for the rest of the season, and we'll be fine. So that's the move. That's probably it for the deadline. All right, so like I said, that's it for the deadline. Let's go take a look and see what our team is looking like, or at least what our picks look like. So Ruben Iglesias, 92 potential. Ooh, that's good arm, decent speed, decent hitting. I like this. I like this. Not a lot of power, but the rest look pretty good. Here's the DaCosta that we wanted that went 2 picks before us. A little bit better in the field, a little bit more speed, but not as much power. But I guess the contact numbers do look a little bit better. He does have 92 potential as well. So there's that. And then they also got Joe Nielsen, who was on my board. So, man, what a pick for the Pirates. Another player that we looked at, Emmett Wood, has 92 potential, but he went top 3. So there's that. Yamashita had 89 potential, so another pick that we missed out on. This looks to be the best player in the draft currently, Devin Phipps, 74 overall with 92 potential. Great pick for the Angels, who have like what, a top 10 pick? They had to have if they got him before us. And then this was the guy that I wanted in the second, potentially third round, but the Angels picked him too. Really good hitting stats. That's why I wanted him. No fielding, not a lot of speed, but hey, we missed out on him. And to be honest, we didn't really miss out on, you know, I guess the players that got picked before us we missed out on, but I mean, look at our draft. 92 potential, 87 potential for Dominguez, another outfielder, 88 potential for a center fielder. Looks pretty good, really good speed, hitting stats. This guy might be a trade piece. But 82 potential for Cortez. You got 79 for Ramos, which was our lone pitcher, which honestly, the clutch is low. I was going to say maybe we make him a reliever, but he doesn't look terrible. He might be someone that we could put like long relief role in a couple seasons. And then we have Elvis Santana at 48 overall and Henry Julio at 47 overall. So a lot of high potential players, some decent ones. I think these first 2 picks are definitely players to keep an eye on. All right, so the season's over. We cooled off. We cooled off pretty hard come like mid-August. You can see lost the series to Seattle. Then New York came and swept us. The Cubs came and swept us. And then we just got a little cold. We split the series with the White Sox. And September wasn't that great either. In September, I started playing a lot of the younger guys. I called up a couple players, and basically from there, once we really started to lose some games here in August, I was like, you know what, we're out of the playoff race. Let's let the kids play. So with that in mind, it does suck that we finished, 76 and 86, 12 games out in the Central and 10 games out of the wild card. But you know what? It's not a terrible season. I was hoping for a little closer to 500, but I'll take it to start the year. So really quickly, let me kind of see where we were as a team. Okay, so batting average, we definitely need to pick it up. We are 27th, so we definitely need some guys that put the ball in play a little bit more, little contact hitters here and there. Home runs I'm not too worried about, but about runs batted in, just to kind of see where we were. 24th, so yeah, we just really weren't producing runs at all. Are we pretty low on the runs? Yeah, 24th. Okay, pitching wise though, how are we looking pitching wise, just to get an idea of where we're at? We are a bottom half team to 19th. Okay, so it looks like we need upgrades throughout the entire team. Awards really quickly. Judge, 60 home runs. Okay. 40 home runs for Acuna on the other side. We've got Strider and Gausman as the Cy Young winners. Strider with the cool 4 ERA. Love to see that. Batting title went to Freddie Freeman and Yandy Diaz. Joe Duran and Evan Phillips, relievers of the year. And then Yamamoto just beating out Imanaga and Jackson Churio for the rookie of the year on the NL side. On the AL side, Junior Caminero, who hit 41 home runs. Yeah, pretty impressive. So just really quickly, I'll show you what the team was looking like. So I called up Bo Brisky, and 24 innings, he got 5 starts, and not terrible. Obviously, 5 starts, he went around 5 innings a start, which isn't terrible. How many quality starts did he have? 3 out of the 5? Pretty good. FIP was at 5.29, so it looks like he got a little bit lucky on the ERA front. But you know what? To come in and help us out in late August, September, not bad, especially when Sawyer Gibson-Long was also not terrible. We did take him out of the starter role and moved him into a long relief role, which might be a little bit better. Let's see what the FIP was looking like. 5.76, so he also got a little bit lucky. So definitely need to upgrade the rotation for sure. Matt Manning as a long reliever was whatever. Chapin was pretty good. I think I'll try to bring him back for 1 more year. I feel like we should be able to get him fairly cheap, and the season wasn't bad for him. So We need the bullpen help. We need a lefty. Let's try to bring him back. Shelby Miller was pretty solid as well. Miguel Diaz was very good. Let's keep on to him for sure. Tyler Holton was fantastic. We've got Will Vest, who was also very good. Alex Lang should not be up here. It was... Who else did I have up? Did we just... Oh, they just brought in an extra guy. I sent him in AAA the whole time. But Jason Foley was our closer. He blew 12 saves. Yeesh. Yeesh. Okay. So a closer might be on the books. We might need one of those. Or a player on the wish list. School, 8-17. ERA is a little inflated, but the whip's at 1.2. So yeah, we gave him the extension. Hopefully we can get back to like the mid threes, you know, maybe like a 2.8 ERA. Low threes would be preferred. Reese Olson, a little bit of a tough season too, not ideal. We've got Jack Flaherty, who was good, could potentially bring him back to help us out in the rotation. We talked about Bo, and then Casey Mize was fine, but again, I feel like we definitely need someone to kind of partner up with Scooble, so we could go Scooble, somebody, Olsen, maybe Flaherty. We'll see. We might bring back Flaherty. So we talked pitching. Let's talk about this offense. Who we had Badu up towards the end of the season just to get a couple at bats, 50 in total, and OPS is not bad. I'll give him that. Jace Young came up also around September and was decent, 70 ABs. I definitely think this is a guy that we can plug at third or plug at second and see what happens. Definitely going to be competing with, I guess Colt Keith can play. I guess he could just be our DH because that fielding's pretty atrocious, and at least Jace Young can hold it down at second base with that fielding because he doesn't have the arm either. But he was good, so I'm pretty happy with that. Malloy, man, or Henry Malloy. Good Lord, this was atrocious. And Torkelson was pretty bad. That's why I sent him to AAA. So there we go. Zach McKinstry was one of our bench players. He was honestly not terrible, so I'm probably going to keep him as a bench guy moving forward. And then our bench was pretty atrocious, though. I mean, just look at it. Everybody was yeah. This is an eyesore for sure. This is pretty tough. One guy that got sent down to single A for some reason, even though we had him throughout the entire season, was Javi Baez. A pretty Javi Baez season, 21 home runs, 30 doubles, 20 stolen bases. The rest of the stuff looks about right. Yeah. And then when you look at our offensive side of things, Wenzel, even though I think with the double E you would say Wenzel, but I've heard Wenzel so much that I guess that's what it is. He was good. He might be our starting center fielder moving forward. I mean, those are decent numbers. Riley Green, I expect better. Kerry Carpenter, iffy, right? Like not ideal numbers for sure. I know in real life he has like a back fracture or something going on, so that sounds painful. But Kerry Carpenter, you know what? I need better from him. Colt Keith was pretty solid up until like that cold streak we had in August, September, and that's when he kind of cooled off. But overall, not a bad season. I definitely expect him to probably be our DH moving forward, with Young holding it down at second base. Good fielding, but no arm. Probably a second baseman. Josh Bell could be this first baseman until Torkelson figures it out, or we just keep him at first base until we can find a really good first baseman to take over. Leo Jimenez came up, got 80 ABs, and honestly, pretty good. I don't know if he can repeat that throughout an entire season, but at least somebody that could play shortstop if Baez continues to suck, could play third base for us, could play a couple different infield positions. So not a bad pickup so far. And then Dingler was better than what we had, which honestly, it really wasn't hard to do. So that's the team offensively. We just need upgrades everywhere. So the Dodgers end up defeating the Astros. We'll quickly see who was the MVP. It was James Outman. All right, there we go. Offseason time. I don't really want to bring back too many of the same guys, just because does that really improve the team? Not really. And I kind of need to improve the team, but I'm going to go with Chafin wants $9 million. Ooh. If I would have known that, I probably would have traded him, because he was on like 3.5 or 4.5. $9 million's crazy. Flaherty, what does he want? That's a little bit better. I can get behind that. I'll give him 8 to ensure that he signs with us. Josh Bell probably wants like way less than I anticipated. I'll give you, okay, that's the highest we can go on interest level. I'll give you $6 million. Urshela can go. Shelby Miller, just to have that depth in the bullpen. I'll give him the bullpen option too for $4 million. We'll see if he signs that, and then Mark Canna can go. Chafin wanted 9 is pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie. I do need a couple positions or a couple coaches. So I'm gonna do that off camera. I don't know who to target in the offseason. Definitely a pitcher, though. That's the big move. All right, season 2, 23rd ranked, but the contact and the pitching went up. So that's a plus. Pitching wise, this is what we're currently rocking with. I did want to boost up the team a little bit, but I felt like there really weren't too many options that I was willing to spend the money on besides like maybe Corbin Burns, but I felt like Walker Buehler would be a good option. 3 years, he's coming off a pretty decent season. In real life, he's struggling, but 15 mil, we've got an option on that final season. So let's see what he can do with us for the next couple seasons. I felt like he slotted in perfectly at number 2. We still have Flaherty, we still have Olsen, we still have Bo here, and then Matt Manning as the 6th. We've got a couple other guys that could potentially get called up, like Flores, Gibson Long again, Mize, Madden, Faedo. There's also another guy on waivers. So I feel like we're looking pretty good for the bottom half of the rotation. Let's see what happens, because we've got a couple guys fighting it out here for these last couple spots. If you look at the bullpen, I mean, it's not too bad. We brought in Johnny Lasagna, and then we also brought in AJ Minter. Minter was 2 mil cheaper than what? Oh geez, what was his name? Lefty. What? Chafin. He ended up going for 8.5 to the Red Sox. So there we go. I mean, the guy played for the Cubs. How did I forget what his name was? Either way, we also brought in Johnny Lasagna on a $4 million deal. Overall, I feel like we bolstered the team a little bit pitching wise. I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully it can lead to results. Offensively, not too much has changed. Josh Bell's back, and that's really about it. So there's that. Austin Nola's our new backup catcher. I guess that's something to be excited about. But other than that, I felt like the team, let's see how some of these young guys do. I don't really want to replace them just yet. We could potentially be in the market for a like actual shortstop / third baseman. That's really about it. I mean, this is currently what our farm system's looking like. Torkelson is going to start in AAA. We do have Justice Bigby, who I know is one of the higher rated prospects in the Tiger system. I think he's hovering around 10. I think. I could be wrong. We'll see. I mean, he could play the outfield. He could play first base, probably first base, but it looks like he could hit a little bit if Torkelson sucks. So there's that. Other than that, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we had our draft picks plus Max Clark. So these 3 are in AA to start the year. Oh, wait, Dominguez, not Campos. But Campos potentially can help us out. Other than that, I don't really want to highlight too many other guys. We do have Jackson Jobe in AA again, which I probably should call him up to AAA. We'll wait on that, though. Let's get him a couple starts in AA to start the year. All right, that's it. Season 2, I feel like we're probably going to be hovering around a 500 team again. Maybe get a little lucky, maybe push for a wildcard spot. But I feel like we at least improved the team. So that's a start. All right, so as you can see, I'm recording pretty early in the morning. Server maintenance, I can't get rid of that. So that just popped up. I think I'm just going to have to show you the draft and then wait for maintenance to be over. And then just because it's going to stay on screen, and I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do here is let's get to the draft. I have 2 players that I want for this draft, and then I'm just going to have to finish recording this after maintenance, which is super annoying that you can't get rid of that maintenance bar. That seems super dumb. Either way, I want McGraw or I want Leland Shipley. I think McGraw is my number 1 choice, so hopefully he falls to us at number 10. Please, 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 please. Number 1 pick is Garrett Fernandez. Okay, first baseman, get him out of the way. That's one less team that I have to worry about taking. McGraw. Second up, Kerry Jameson with the Nationals. Okay. And third pick is the White Sox. Guy with a beard, so it's not going to be McGraw. It's Curtis Veach. All right, please, please give me McGraw. Please give me McGraw. Oh, he's available. Perfect. Okay, so that's huge. This is who I want. I'm not even going to worry about it. We went position player heavy last year. He looks amazing. He looks like he's going to be very good. But I feel like we need one of those pitchers that can help us out. Dave McGraw could potentially help us out final couple seasons of the rebuild. We're going to go with him. Basically, here on out, I don't really care who I take. So I'm just not going to show you. And I'll just show you who we end up getting at the end of the whole signing period. All right, so I didn't make any trades, even though I probably should have, but I felt like the team's doing good. Like, Scooble's kind of struggling, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, potential went up. I don't understand it, but either way, we're past the deadline, and I did give Jackson Jobe some time in the majors. He went 3 starts, and the whips look a little high, and that's kind of worrying me, so I'm going to send him back down. It gave him a little taste of the majors. And it didn't really go to plan, but at the same time, I'm not too stressed about it. We're still doing well. Pitching wise, Jack Flaherty's kind of the main eyesore. Outside of that, I'm pretty happy with the way the team's doing. Foley has already been sent down and called back up, so I'm gonna see how he does throughout the rest of the season. If it doesn't work out, then I'll send him back down, and we've got a couple guys that we can call up. Johnny Lasagna, though, yikes, hasn't been great, but we do have a couple guys we can call up if need be. And then lineup wise, I'm pretty happy with everything except for this guy. I just think I think it's done. I think it's just not going to work out. He can be a bench bat at the best. That's really about it. I do have two guys that, or at least one guy that could potentially get picked up on waivers, and that's McKinstry. I really like the looks of Justice Bigby. He's hitting. So is he on the 40-man? He's not, and that's kind of why I didn't want to add him to the 40-man just yet, just because I'm a little tight on the 40-man spot, so I don't really know who to cut. Baez is clearly not going to be a starter moving forward either, so he's probably a guy that I'm going to look to move in the offseason. And this guy right here, low-key, kind of nice. Potential went up to B. Even better. This guy's low-key kind of crazy. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And for the most part, everybody else is doing fairly well, so I'm pretty happy with the team. So here, it's draft pick time. McGraw, 74 overall, 92 potential. Love it. Then we've got B potential for Gene Daly. Yeah, not great, but A potential for Jack Griffin. We got him in the late second round, possibly third round. Either way, he looks unbelievable. Two great pitchers. And then I didn't sign this guy because his potential was garbage. 81 potential for Crespo, 74 for Leverett, and 78 for Lindsey. But hey, 270 overall pitchers with 90 plus potential is huge. So yeah. So now I'm going to have to wait for the maintenance to go away and finish the rebuild. But hey, I'm pretty happy with it the first two seasons. We've got some pretty good picks. All right, second season's over, which is awesome because we are the 5th seed in the wild card, which is great because look at 76 and 86 last year. This year, 86 and 76. So we flipped our record, we made the postseason, and we took big strides as a team. Batting average wise, we were actually not bad, 10th as a team. But the runs, this is where it kind of sucked. 17th. So we're not really scoring a lot, which how are we making the postseason then? Well, excuse me, pitching wise, we're 8th. We're 8th. So, or at least ERA wise. So we're not really allowing a lot of runs, which is good. If we take a look at awards, we have Jordan as the MVP, Juan Soto as the MVP, who did sign with the Brewers on a pretty big deal. So yeah, that's if this happened in real life, I would cry. Because he would torment the Cubs for the next decade. And I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know if I could handle that. Either way, Tristan McKenzie, Cy Young winner, along with Shohei Ohtani. Batting title went to Juan Soto and Yandy Diaz. And then reliever of the year was Hunter Gaddis, along with Evan Phillips. Rookie of the year went to Robert Gasser of the Brewers. And we actually had an award. I already kind of peeked at this. Jace Young was our award winner for Rookie of the Year. Leo Jimenez also being a sneaky little player in this rebuild so far. If we take a look at pitching, we had a couple guys come up and a couple guys get sent down. We had some, like 10 games for Casey Mize. He struggled. Ty Madden did not pitch. Sawyer Gibson Long did. He got some starts. He got some bullpen action, and he wasn't terrible, right? Kind of comparable to what he did last season. It was just we were making a playoff run. I kind of needed some arms in there that I felt a little bit more reliable with. And I think that was it. Oh, yeah, Johnny Lasagna sucked. And we don't have an option, which is good because it was only a one-year deal. But, yeah, he was bad. Basically the same as last year. I was kind of hoping he would have improved. No, he did not. So if we talk about what we had this season, Jack Flaherty wasn't as good as he was last year. He wasn't bad, but the issue here was 6 quality starts out of his 24 games. Not ideal. Matt Manning had 50 innings, was slightly better than last year, but also pitched a third of the innings less. So one third less innings. There we go. That's the proper way to say it. Will Vest, not as good as he was last year, but you know what? I'm still pretty happy with the numbers that he put up. He almost pitched twice as much as he did last year. So I feel like he'll probably be around somewhere, maybe in the middle, maybe the mid 3s for ERA. And I'd be okay with that. Maybe get one more season out of him. Tyler Holton was fantastic. Love to see that. 90 innings was unbelievable. Brandt, I almost said Brent, but it's Brandt. He was good. He was very good. 35 innings. Love to see it. Jason Foley kind of struggled. I think it's the hits per 9 being a little bit low. Maybe the case. It's got to be the hits per 9. Is he allowing a lot of hits? Yeah, he is. That's an issue. Miguel Diaz, though, was phenomenal once again. Unbelievable. Who is this guy? This guy's insane. And then AJ Minter was just what we needed. You know, our closer, really, really solid. And because of that, I decided to give him a 2-year extension. It is a team option for 2027, though, so we'll see how it goes. Looking at our starters, Bo put up a similar stat line to Jack Flaherty. The only difference was double the quality starts, which was about half of the game, or about a third of the games. About a third of the games that he started, maybe a little bit more than a third. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like, it's very similar, like 4.56, and Flaherty was 4.57. Yeah, very similar. It's just Bo was slightly better and giving us a little bit more of a quality start. I'm okay with that. Reese Olson, I think he improved from last year. Yeah, good ERA jump, 4.2. It is so hot in my office right now. I don't know if you guys can like see the, let me see if I can get it on the light. Like, you can see a little glisten right here. It is so hot. I feel like I'm sweating. And holy cow. And if I turn my fan on, it's like an industrial fan, so it picks up on the mic, so I can't turn it off. So I'm gonna power through this. Either way, Reese Olson, fantastic season, good season, okay season, I should say. And I think he's gonna probably settle around the 4 spot, because I'm gonna see if I can pick up another really strong arm to help us out, maybe hop in this 3 or 2 spot, depending on where Bueller ends up, because he was very good. I just don't know how much more he's going to improve. Speaking of improvements, a potential 90 overall, did improve from last year, and I mean, still a 4 ERA, but overall not a bad season for Skubal. And then Bueller is improving by quite a bit, but with only B potential, probably won't improve too much more. But with a 2.76 ERA, I can't complain about that at all. And for 15 mil, we'll probably get that 2026 season. And then 2027, I probably still will pick it up depending on how 2026 goes. 15 mil for a strong pitcher, can't turn that down. Lineup wise, Baez is a guy that I might have to trade him this offseason. He's taking up too much money, and he's not even giving me like an okay season, right? Like, if he could get this OPS somewhere in the 700s, I'd be fine, but it ain't happening. Vierling was pretty garbage this year. So was Jake Rogers. And Andy Ibanez, he was okay. He wasn't anything too crazy. Akil Badu also, you know, he was fine. The 827 OPS is actually pretty good, so I'm happy with that. He's probably our main like outfielder off the bench. Looking at some of the guys, Torkelson, I don't know what to do with him. Maybe only face lefties. That might be the only solution to save his career at this point. Zach McKinstry was also not fantastic, but we have, where'd he go? He's not playing shortstop. It's just because the season was over. The CPU kind of took him out of the lineup. He's up to a 69 overall, the guy that we drafted. Still got a decent arm. The contact numbers went up by quite a bit. So I'm excited to see how he develops next season. Justice Bigsby is a guy that I'm looking to possibly bring up next year. He's looking pretty good development wise. Same thing with Eddys Leonard. He's looking pretty good too. So there's a couple guys that like, they might not be long-term guys, but they could possibly fill out the bench and maybe even be someone like a Wenzel Perez who's hitting fairly well. You know, nothing too crazy, but guys that can just kind of help us out off the bench or maybe fill a hole when needed. Riley Green, though, was fantastic. Love seeing that. We've got Kerry Carpenter, who was also very good with a 300 average, 14 home runs. So the power's not really where I want it to be, but overall not a bad season at all. Josh Bell, B potential, which is crazy. He had a very good year, 31 home runs, 868 OPS. And because of that, I rewarded him with the contract extension for 2 seasons of 2026 and 2027. Super cheap deal. When I saw that he only wanted that kind of money, I was like, yeah, let's sign him up for 1 more year at least. Team option for 2027. So we'll see how that goes. I think for 7 mil, even off the bench, wouldn't be a bad thing. So Malloy came up again, and he gave us 170 at-bats, and honestly, I will take that. Good on-base percentage and a decent OPS. I feel like this could be a guy that could take over the DH spot, left field for us, maybe even third base if needed. We do have Jace Young here, who was decent, 25 home runs. The average in on-base percentage is a little low, so I definitely need some improvement there. Colt Keith, I like those numbers. I like those numbers a lot. We got almost a 285 average, almost a 350 on base. I don't know why I said 285 average like that. Almost a 350 on base percentage and the 816 OPS is fantastic. Leo Jimenez, B potential now. Not a home run hitter, but the guy is walking a good amount. He's getting some hits. good average on base percentage and an 803 OPS. I think this guy's kind of nasty. And then we definitely need a catcher because Dylan Dingler is not it. So with that in mind, it's postseason time. How do we do against the Twins? We win 6-3 on the first game and 5-3 on the second game. I feel like, let's see, what was that, like a week? 30 to the 5th. Okay, so I think we're going to go Bueller, Skubal, and then Bo. I feel like we should do fairly well here against the Guardians. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. We got swept by the Guardians. So I was wrong. We will not do fairly well. Didn't even come close. The Brewers defeated the Guardians. I mean, Juan Soto's on the team. I mean, we didn't even... Good Lord. Off-season time. Let's do it. Let's do it. So with that in mind, what do we do with this team? I definitely think clearly pitching, we do need a little bit of an upgrade. Nothing too crazy, but at least a slight improvement. All those guys can walk in free agency. I'm perfectly fine with that. What do I need staff-wise? A pitching coach. Yeah, let's get that now. All right, so looking at the team, I feel like we're going to go like this. Man, what is... I don't have faith in Mize. I really don't have faith in like anybody in this little range right here. Jackson potentially as the 5. Okay, how old is Jackson? Is he 22 or 23? He is 23. Okay, and then we do have McGraw. We totally have him. We have Jake Griffin too. I feel like we need maybe like a veteran pitcher somewhere around like 31, 30 to slide in at the 3 spot for a season or two, and that allows us to kind of develop another starter, and then maybe Jackson and Bo can fight it out for the 5. Offensively, we definitely need something. I'm trying to see where. Let's see what's our outfield looking like. What's Max Clark up to? Honestly, he's probably like a season away depending on how much more he grows. And then we also have this guy, so maybe definitely a catcher, and then maybe a DH. Maybe let's see what we've got here. Speaking of DH, ooh, we definitely need a catcher though, and the market's a little thin, so maybe we can make a trade there. But I mean, there's some decent DH options for sure. And if I really wanted to go out the outfield route, yeah, I don't really want to go for Kyle Tucker, but I definitely think a DH is attainable this offseason. And then looking at the pitchers, Zach Gallen, Cease is not bad. We got Woodruff too. Woodruff would be a good veteran for like a season. Okay, we might do something this offseason. So Kyle Tucker just signed a 6-year, $52 million deal, which is about almost just shy of $9 million per season with the Phillies, which is what? Can't be serious. Let's go to the Phillies. Where are the Phillies? Let's see what Kyle Tucker just put up this season. He put up 33 home runs. He had 33 home runs last year. Like, sure, he hit 267 with an 816 OPS. What about a WAR 1.6, which isn't ideal, and he had only 0.7 last year? Okay, so fielding wise, he's not great, but like, I mean, 8.8 mil on average for 6 years. Really? What is the contract system here? Like, we gotta do better. So with that in mind, we have this this gentleman here named Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's getting offered just above 10 mil a year by the Marlins, Red Sox, and White Sox, and coming off of 23 home runs, which was a little bit of a down year compared to his 2024 season. I feel like this is a guy that he raises the bar for us. I actually thought about getting Kyle Tucker because I felt like, Kerry Carpenter's been good, but is he a guy that we can look at long term, which I feel like with Kyle Tucker we definitely could. It's just like, I feel like with Vlad, I feel like we get him so often that he's like one of the marquee free agents every single rebuild, right? He's one of those big names. I also did look around though. I don't really know who else we could trade for. So with that in mind, I might as well just go after it, give him like 80 mil over 5 years, which is way more than what every other team's offering them, but it's a little bit more realistic. What was that, like 16 mil a season? I definitely need to trade Javi Baez to get the contract off the books, especially since we're kind of getting close budget wise. But I felt like if he's sitting in free agency on December 8th, I might as well scoop him up, put him into our lineup, and elevate our offense when I'm also trying to elevate the pitching too. And since I had some money to spend, might as well do it. Start the year, I'm sending Javi back to the Cubs. and I'm just picking up Cody Hoyer, who it's a salary dump. That's purely the reason why I'm trading him. It sucks it didn't work out, but I needed to make it happen. All right, so Baez trade is done. It was a salary dump, and we're currently ranked 8th, which is pretty good. That's a huge jump up. The speed, the power, and the defense, a little bit of a question mark. But let's talk about the team here. Pitching rotation, the big addition was Dylan Cease. 2-year deal, 22.5 mil. He wasn't like lights out or anything last year, but I'm hoping just give me a season, give me 2 seasons, and really strengthen this pitching staff. I feel like this is kind of what we're building this team around. We still have Jackson Jobe. We've got Skubal, Buehler, Cease, Olsen, right? Like we've had a good pitching staff, right? It was one of the better ones in baseball last year. We also drafted these 2 in McGraw and Griffin. So I feel like we might as well continue to build around this pitching staff that we have. I mean, even the rest of the starters in AAA could potentially help us out in the long relief role, or even at the 5 spot, or even in the bullpen in general. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing with this Tigers team. Let's build around the pitching, and then we'll kind of add some pieces to the offense when needed. So speaking of the offense, let's talk about what we did. This was the big addition, Vladdy, on a $16 million deal. That's kind of why I needed to get rid of Baez to open up a little bit of money, just because we were kind of pushing it anyways. We were, I think, under 10 mil in available budget, so getting rid of that Baez contract helps us out a little bit. So next year we do have some contracts, but I feel like moving into that final season we'll have a decent amount of money to spend. So offensively, this is what we're looking like, right? Kerry Carpenter's someone that I'm worried might start to regress a little bit. I feel like we've kind of seen the best out of him. We signed Jose Trevino to a 1-year deal, only played in like 120 games the last 2 seasons, so we'll see how he does with the full season. I'm hoping better than what we've already been getting, which I feel like is not that hard to do. Torkelson's on the bench, Malloy, Ibanez, and Badu, with Dingler as the bench bats. We've got a lot of guys that can help us out off the bench. Like we have like a Ibanez carbon copy in, where is he? He's on waivers right now in Eddie's Leonard. I mean, it looks basically the same, slightly better with lefties, plays a bunch of different positions. I feel like we could call him up if need be. Parker Meadows really hasn't developed offensively, so he's not really on my radar, but Max Clark is. I might call him up to AAA in a little bit. We've got our guy Iglesias, we've got Big B. We've got a lot of guys that can just help us out if need be, but no one that can really hop into the starting lineup. That's kind of like one major issue. But we also have a lot of homegrown players, so I'm not really trying to blow up the squad just yet. If the season doesn't go to plan and we can't get a good postseason run, then I may have to start to look into making some trades and acquiring some bigger names to improve this team. So let's see how it goes. I mean, we're ranked good in pitching and contact. We just got to make sure we score more runs. So we finished the season 101-66, a huge jump compared to last season and the first season, taking on the winner of the wild card. So let's see what the rest of the league looks like. All right, so we have a league leader. It was Skubal and Minter, who looked like they did pretty well. Good saves, 52, and Skubal was unbelievable with the winning percentage in ERA. I'm noticing something with our team, though, and let's talk about it. So we had the best batting average, or second best batting average, I should say. Offensively, we were still pretty low. We're like mid-table for the runs allowed, like right in the middle of the league. We definitely need to score some more. And if we take a look at ERA really quickly, we are first. Pitching, like I said, we built this team around pitching. It is showing. If we take a look at awards, Jordan MVP along with Juan Soto. You can see Judge and Seager were there. Pete Alonso with the Padres. Oh, okay. Cy Young went to Spencer Strider along with Brian Bayo. Skubal was there, but clearly, a 4 ERA is just better. Yandy Diaz and Jose Rodriguez. Okay. Kind of a crazy season, but batting title winners. And Jordan Romano went to the Rangers, is now reliever of the year. And Evan Phillips is as well. Minter not in the mix. Oh, wait. No, it would be the AL. Still not in the mix. Huh. Okay, rookie of the year went to Jackson Holiday, who hit almost 40 home runs, which is crazy. And on the NL side, it was Cade Horton. All right, let's talk about the team here. So really quickly, you can see McGraw's already up to a 78. Like, he is improving so quickly. But this guy here, again, got a couple games, was more of a long reliever in September, but was good. So I think he's going to be fighting for that 5 spot in the rotation next year. Outside of that, no one really got a chance in the majors because pitching was actually really strong this year. I mean, look at what Matt Manning did at 100 innings. Easily his best season. Will Vest, I was saying he was going to settle around like a 3.5 ERA. What does he do? 2.5. Okay. All right. Tyler Horton is starting to regress, but put up his best season easily. Brandt struggled a little bit, but then I looked at his FIP, and he's definitely getting killed by the fact that our defense sucks. So there's that. We've got Jason Foley, who definitely was better. You know, he brought the whip down, which is huge. The ERA is still a little bit high, but at least the whip was in a better spot. He also threw 80 innings, which is a lot. Miguel, 4.20 ERA, you know, it's okay. All right. The whip's still good, though, at a 104, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then AJ Minter, 8 blown saves is a little bit of an issue, so I'm not sure. I think for 8 mil, we could probably sneak out another season from him, but we'll see. We'll see. Scooble, I mean, that's a crazy season. That is a ace season right there. Walker Buehler right behind him. Fantastic. Love to see that. The whip did jump up a little bit, but that was kind of expected. I really wasn't expecting him to like really improve too much more. But for 15 mil, I'll think about it. I'm not 100% sure, especially with Dylan Cease, who kind of let me down. Am I willing to have 37 mil tied up into 2 players who probably aren't going to improve too much more? I don't know if I can do that. Reese Olson was very good, you know, best season by far in the rebuild. It's just, again, he's not really developing. So like we might be in a little bit of a pickle. And Bo, easily his best season. So that's good to see. I like that. So like I said, we do have the prospects developing. Offensively, we ran into a couple issues, and I didn't really want to make any more trades because, again, I feel like some of the guys that did struggle are going to bounce back next year. Colt Keith being one of them. He only hit 260, sub 300 on base percentage, OPS settling around 700. That's a bad season. He did steal 17 bases though, which is pretty impressive. Another guy who really struggled, doesn't surprise me, is Torkelson, but where is he? Jace Young. I mean, wow, was he doing poorly. And I mean, look at the hitting stats. I feel like tough. And again, I didn't want to replace him because I feel like a bounce back season's coming, right? We've also got Iglesias up to a 73. Might as well show you while we're here. So, Kerry Carpenter, slight regression. Like I said, I was a little worried about this happening. It just might be one of those things where, you know what? Hey, you gave us 2 pretty decent seasons, at least 1 decent season in 2025. I think we move forward in a different direction. And that just might be finding a really good outfielder. Just because I don't think Iglesias is ready just yet. And neither is Max Clark. Max Clark is getting close, but I think we try to find someone that's just like lights out, like really just good at the corner spots, maybe even a center fielder. Dylan Dingler, yeah, that's not great. Andy Abanya is also not great, and Justice Big B got called up because some of the other guys that we just had weren't producing. So I felt like, you know what, let's just call him up for the postseason. Akil Baddoo, the average is low, but look at that on base percentage. That's pretty good. Wenzel Perez is still an on-base machine, so I'm keeping him in the team until he proves that he doesn't, or at least until he shows that he can't be in the team anymore. We've got Riley Green, who continues to do very good things, puts up very good numbers. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Vladdy, first season with the team, hits almost 40 home runs, which, yeah, give me more of that. Josh Bell continues to do well and slightly improving. So I think for 7 mil, I think it's worth picking up, especially since Torkelson's not doing anything. So he can be our bench first baseman or our DH and basically just flip these 2. That's really what I'm thinking here. Colt Keith, we talked about, struggled this season. He did still hit 30 doubles though, which is pretty good. Malloy, I'll take that. That's solid. I mean, honestly, he might just be the left fielder. The issue is the fielding, and that could actually hurt us. You know, you saw that Brandt really struggled, so we might need to pick up a good fielding left fielder. But other than that, really good season from him. Jimenez up to an 80, still putting up crazy numbers from what I was expecting from him. I really wasn't expecting much. I really was expecting like maybe like 260 hitter, you know, maybe like a 340 on base percentage, not a lot of slug. I mean, he's hitting 16 home runs, 30 doubles. I mean, what a pickup from the Blue Jays. And then Eddie Leonard had to come in because some of our other guys weren't producing. He gets 140 ABs, puts up really good numbers. So I'm pretty happy there. And then Jose Trevino gave us 1 season, is regressing pretty heavily. So I think that'll be a one and done. It's an improvement on what we had, so I can't be too upset. So this is the team we're rocking with for the postseason. I'm not feeling good I'm feeling like we definitely need to make some changes this offseason. I think the offense is a little lackluster. I feel like it's a fine offense. I think we do need to start going and getting more Vlad type pickups. It's just I feel like the guys have been putting up good numbers, so I feel bad replacing them, but we need to improve. And also the pitching as a whole probably is going to start to see some regression, so we definitely need to find people that could step in when needed. So postseason time, how are we going to do against the Guardians, who knocked us out last year? We are eliminated. Offense, I mean, 4 runs. Brandt let us down there. Walker Buehler 7-0 on this game, 5-2 on this game. So yeah, the pitching let us down a little bit, but at the same time, we're not really scoring a lot of runs. 4 runs in 3 games, that's not going to win you a World Series. The Dodgers ended up winning a World Series. I forgot to take a look at the MVPs the last couple of years. Soto and Freddie Freeman. Okay. Yeah, especially since the Guardians are going to be a main rival for us, we really need to step it up. And heading into season 4, we probably should go and get some big names. So I think we keep Buehler. 15 mil is a good deal too. It's just like, I'm afraid he's really, I mean, -3, -1, -1, -1. I feel like we could still, for 15 mil, it's really not that bad. And he probably is gonna, I'm gonna pick this one up because it's 8 mil for a bullpen arm. That's really solid. I think 7.2 mil is cheap for Josh Bell, and I'm gonna decline this one just because we have Dylan Cease on the books, and I'm a little worried about what's gonna happen. I might, what does he want for a season? Yeah, he's definitely gonna want a lot more. I definitely should have picked it up, but I'm gonna see if we can get a different pitcher. Also, we could just go Jackson Jobe. We could do that. I'm gonna see what we do. I definitely need a manager and a pitching coach, but this offseason is a big one for us. All right, we're still in spring training, so season 4 technically hasn't started, but I mean, it kind of has. But I'm looking at the team going, all right, offensively, we could upgrade, right? And maybe Malloy falls off this year, but you know what? He had half a season last year. It was good. Previous season also was like 50 games, pretty good. Let's give him the shot in left field, see how he does. Alejandro Kirk was our big addition. B potential, 87 overall, had a pretty good season last year in 130 games. So let's see how he does with us. 15 mil over 3 seasons, or 15 mil each year for 3 seasons. I felt like it was pretty good. Good defensively, decent batting attributes or hitting attributes. I feel like this guy definitely an upgrade on what we currently have had. I'm really banking on Young and Colt Keith having a bounce back season. And then Josh Bell, I need him to just hold his rating for another year, or we could turn this, not Torkelson, but probably Justice Bigby. And then what'll happen is he'll just slide into the DH spot right there, which I don't think that's a bad idea. We also have Eddie Leonard. We have a couple different guys. Plus we have a couple prospects that are right around the corner too. So my thinking is, I like the team. I want to give a shot for Malloy for a full season. And if things don't go well, we also have like just a log jam in the outfield. We have Dominguez. We have Max Clark. We have Iglesias. Like, we have plenty of outfield options that I just feel like there really was no need to go out and get an outfielder this offseason. And I also just didn't want to spend money that I felt like probably could have been used in a different way. Pitching, we're just going to rock with what we had in the farm system. Jackson Jobe's going to be called up. And bullpen wise, it's the same, but I'm going to actually go make a trade right now to just make it better. Mason Miller is in the team. We're going to get rid of, speaking of outfield jam, Kerry Carpenter regressed really heavily last year, and because of that, he only played 78 games. So we're going to get rid of him, and Parker Meadows, who just really hasn't developed as a hitter at all. So those two going to get us Mason Miller, and that's really going to bolster the bullpen. And now with that, you know, the lineup basically speaks for itself. The bench is kind of set up like this, and pitching rotation wise / bullpen, I think Brandt's going to get sent down, see if he can kind of work back to like his 2025 form in AAA, and Mason Miller will just take his spot here. And actually it'll probably be like this with Mason Miller as the setup. So I really like the team. I actually think we're in a really good spot. I just really need more runs in this offensive lineup, which probably means I should have gone out and gotten better players, but like, we haven't been performing bad. It's just that we haven't been performing great. So I'm gonna bank on this team having a bounce back season offensively, And then pitching wise, I'm hoping we get similar production to what we did last year. So if you look at the team, if we move to the regular season, we're ranked 5th. Defense is still an issue, but we have first in contact, third in pitching, just really lack that power too. So let's see how we do, and hopefully it goes better than last year. All right, so we're July 10th. We're actually right before the draft. That's the word I'm looking for. And I'm going to make a couple trades early because I'm noticing that our bullpen is there's a couple guys that are lackluster, and I don't know if I really have anybody that can step in that I have faith in right now. Maybe Troy Melton is like the one that I'm like, you know what? I probably could turn to him, but I'm looking through these names and I'm not really seeing a lot here. I haven't really picked up a lot of bullpen arms in terms of depth this year. So I'm going to get Enyel De Los Santos, who's having a pretty decent season, becomes a free agent at the end of the year, and I'm getting rid of 2 prospects that 127, he's not getting into the team, and neither is Diego Blanco. So yeah, that's going to give me Enyel De Los Santos. And then I think I want one more reliever, and it's because we don't really have a lefty. Brandt right now is just not doing it. He's doing well in AAA, but basically what happened last year, I don't know. And then this is a guy I'm excited about. The CPU drafted him last year. It's just I don't think he's ready yet. So I'm going to let him develop a little bit more. So as you can see, McGraw and Griffin are both doing fairly well in AAA. McGraw's up to an 80. So I'm going to try to find a lefty. I'm actually going to search for a lefty right here. Little reliever action lefty. There's not a lot, is there? Holy cow. Let's see. Man, my choices are limited. Man. Okay, what about... They're not using him? He's not doing great in AAA, but like, I feel like this is worth a shot, right? And then maybe we just get a couple others. You know, maybe, I know Brant Herter's doing really well in AAA, but like, I'm looking at these attributes and he's got to be decent. Why is he? Maybe he's not a closer. Maybe that's the issue. So I'm gonna, let's see, what do they want? A second base and a shortstop? I've got plenty of those. Let's give him Soretti and... Who else? Just anybody, really? I can give you another reliever. I'll give you Higginbotham. And there we go. Not bad. So this is what the bullpen looks like after the trades, which I'm okay with. I'm going to leave it there for now. I might come back at the deadline depending on how a couple things go. Just because, like, Malloy's not doing bad at all. Like, that's a great on-base percentage. It's just, I kind of wish the OPS was a little bit higher. Like, the slug was a little bit higher. He's also regressing a little bit. So I could turn to Justice here. It's just, I really don't want him fielding. And Badu, I also don't really want him starting. I guess I could turn to Eddie Leonard, but he's not really doing great off the bench. And Iglesias and Clark are kind of stinking it up in AAA right now. So potentially an outfielder. So we'll have to wait and see. Could also be a DH because Josh Bell is regressing, but he's having a crazy season. So we'll see what happens. Deadline is approaching, but we are running away with the division. 67 wins, which honestly, yeah, it is the best record in baseball, which is good. We're doing well. 110 and 52. Hey, I mean, we're getting better and better, which means we're going to lose in the wild card game or against the wild card team, which is going to be Cleveland or Houston. Please don't be Cleveland. They're our bogey team currently. So yeah, it's a pretty good season. So just to see how we did around the league, 110 wins was 10 better than the Brewers and 8 better than the Orioles. So yeah, we were pretty solid. League leaders, Dylan Cease had the most strikeouts and Minter had the most saves at 62. And offensively, Riley Green had a season. Love to see that. So let's see what the rankings are looking like. Best batting average. Third for runs, we're moving up, and the other 2 teams that had 100 wins were the Orioles and the Brewers, so we're very competitive with the other 2 of the best teams on paper, or at least wins wise. Most hits, which is good to see. Home runs, third. What about, I guess, fielding? Are we a bad fielding team? I guess how many errors did we make? That's kind of a one thing to look at. Fifth, okay, so we were like right around the middle. But ERA, we were second, which is good to see. And if we take a look at awards, we have Delivery Man of the Year. We have 5 awards this year. So Delivery Man of the Year, Cy Young. We've got 2 Gold Gloves. All right. And then MVP and a batting title, which is awesome. So 5 awards, or I guess technically 6 because we had 2 Gold Gloves. Huge Riley Green. I mean, what a season. We'll take a look at his season in a second. But Juan Soto, also 3 MVPs in a row for him. Or is it 4? Well, I guess he was with the Yankees, and I can't tell if he won it with the on the AL side, but Jared Jones won the Cy Young, beating out Christian Scott and Brandon Woodruff. Okay, some interesting names there. Dylan Cease, Cy Young winner, beating out his teammate Tarek Skubal. Chase McDermott, okay. All right, for the Orioles, Arise and Riley Green were the batting title winners. AJ Minter with 62 saves, had quite this season, and then Brusdar Graterol for the Giants won it on the other side. Rookie of the year went to Yanquiel Fernandez, beating out Drew Gilbert and Brock Wilken. And then Manzardo was the rookie of the year for the Guardians, beating out Darius Simmons. 80 overall with C potential. Okay. I mean, crazy season. And Nick York. So let's take a look at the pitching. And Casey Mize is going to come in for Matt Manning, because the second half for Matt Manning was pretty tough. He had like a low 4 ERA, and then clearly towards the second half of the season, it kind of cooled off a little bit. So we're going to rock with Casey Mize, who sat around a low 3 ERA in all season in AAA. So we'll give him a shot in the postseason. Dave McGraw came up for 4 starts, and yeah, 7 home runs and 4 starts, not ideal, but you know what? He's continued to develop, got a little taste of the majors in September, and it just didn't go great. Jake Griffin was doing really well in AAA. I could have called him up, but I figured let's give the higher rated player an opportunity. And plus, at 19 years old, you know, I feel like, yeah, it might have been a little bit of a rush for him. Outside of that, when you take a look at the bullpen, we've got Will Vest, who he's held 79 this entire rebuild, and he's been doing well. So, yeah, I'm liking it. Enio De Los Santos had a cold second half, but still an okay season. Jason Foley had his best year of the rebuild so far. Brian Hudson was a great midseason acquisition. I think we can definitely keep him around for a lefty, because we're kind of thin on lefties. So we'll see how he does next year. And then Mason Miller also had a cold second half of the season. So yeah, 8 blown saves, not ideal. And then Minter hitting his final season with the team was good. 4 blown saves. He was fantastic for a 62 saves in the season. I mean, what more can I ask for? He came in, gave us 3 really good seasons, and I'm happy for that. Skubal, good. He had a 4.5 ERA. So for him to get it under 4, I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm really hoping we can get another 2026 year to finish off this rebuild, because overall, a little disappointed in the way he's performed this rebuild. Dylan Cease was very good. 3.6 ERA, 1.2 whip. We've got Bo. Okay. Jackson Jobe with a 3.8 ERA, wasn't bad. 1.3 whip. I'll take that for sure. 24 years old. How many quality starts did we get out of him? 15 out of 32, so half his starts almost. That's pretty good. And then Reese Olson really struggled this year. So a couple outliers, I would say. Honestly, I'm thinking about going like this for the postseason, and then we'll just have Bo be the 5, just because he was pitching a little bit better than what Reese Olson did. Unless, let me take a peek. 9 quality starts to 14. Yeah, Bo's just the quality start guy. He's gonna go out there and give you 5-6 innings, keep the runs down, and we'll be good to go. Let's take a look at the offense. I'm trying to see who I called up. I don't think it really was anybody. Iglesias didn't get called up. Clark didn't get called up. So I think that was really about it. Malloy lost his starter spot. It wasn't that he was doing bad. That's not a terrible season at all. It's just, I thought, you know what? He's starting to regress a little bit. Let's see what Big B can do. Edison Leonard was pretty bad on the bench. Not bad from Dylan Dingler. I'll give him that. A pretty decent season. Torkelson, his best season so far. So I think we'll just keep him at the bench role for sure. And Akil Badu, probably his worst year so far. So there's that. Perez continues to do well. I can't take him out of the spot. A 404 on base percentage in the leadoff role is huge. I mean, look at Riley Green's attributes. Holy cow. What did he put up? 48 home runs, 38 doubles. Okay. Not a lot of, 61 walks is okay, but a 1045 OPS, a 651 slugging. Yeah. Give me more of that. Vlad Jr., how we looking? 45 home runs? Oh, yeah. I like that. 875 OPS. Love that, too. And now, Josh Bell, down to an 80, but hey, 40 home runs. Thank you, Josh Bell, for the last 3 seasons. He has been phenomenal. If we take a look at Justice, Big B took over for Malloy. How did he do? 182 at-bats, 13 home runs, 11 doubles, a 992 OPS. He might be the DH, and I think we turn to possibly him or maybe even Max Clark in the outfield next year. I think that might be the move. We'll see. Colt Keith definitely had the bounce back year that we were looking for. Really solid performance from him. Alejandro Kirk, first year with the team. Ooh, that's what we've been needing in a catcher all this time. Jace Young also had a bounce back season, which is huge with a 904 OPS. And Leo Jimenez still putting up really good numbers, but it looks like this may be his cap. So you know what? For him to actually hit B potential and get into the 80s is huge. He's been phenomenal for us at the shortstop spot since he took over for Baez. Hey, what a pickup. What a pickup. And then back to Perez. So we're going to rock like this for the postseason. Please let this be the year. It's the Guardians once again. We won a game. We won 2 games. How we lose that one? Can Bo close it out against Jack Flaherty? Oh, come on. No, not like this. Not like this. Please, not like this. Come on. We blew it in the 9th. 4 runs allowed. We lost 4-2 on 4 runs allowed off of AJ Minter. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look at what Scooble put up for the postseason. Unbelievable. I can't believe that just happened. All right, we're gonna need to. The Guardians won. The Guardians won. Oh man. Tommy Edman. That's who it was. Tommy Edman. I gotta see what their team's looking like. Where are they? Let's see. Quan Brito, J Rambo, Naylor. How are we not beating this team? Their bullpen's pretty gross. Their bullpen's really nasty. But man, how are we not winning, man? All right, season 5, we got to do it. Alrighty, season 5 time. We're gonna start with picking up Hayden Bird song. We'll see how he does. I don't really know what to expect. He hasn't pitched in the majors at all, so let's see how it goes. All right, so after that Hayden Bird song trade, I'm thinking about going out and acquiring one big name starter because I feel like we need to take this team to the next level. And I feel like we've got a good team. I just feel like I want to lock it down, right? I want my starters to be top tier. I could easily trade Jake Griffin or Dave McGraw, and I could possibly trade Reese Olson. And the reason I want to potentially trade Reese Olson is he hasn't really developed a lot the last couple seasons. He's really been hovering around this like 80, 82 mark. And that just might be the best that we see out of Reese Olson. I know in real life he's been fairly good for the Tigers, and he's been fairly good for us. It's just like for a guy that's about to become a free agent in a couple seasons, I feel like I would rather keep McGraw and Griffin for the future, especially because I feel like they can give me similar seasons to what Reese Olson has done. And I don't know, Reese Olson could regress this season. In real life, I definitely think I would keep Reese Olson and then trade one of the prospects to get an elite pitcher. But if I can trade Reese Olson and get an elite pitcher in this sim, I'd rather do that. So especially because I feel like McGraw and Griffin could hit that 82 mark. And looking at Reese Olson's attributes, they don't look too much different than McGraw. Let me put them side by side just so that we can look. Like you can see 68, 71, 71. Reese Olson is 70, 73, 71. It's not too much different between the two. I feel like we're not really missing out on too much attribute wise. So I feel like we could definitely get away with McGraw being at the back of the rotation, you know, maybe moving Job here and then getting a really, really good pitcher. We don't have a lot of money, and getting rid of that $4.5 million that he's making also makes things a little bit easier. So now I'm sitting here going, you know what, let's go make that trade. Sadly, Reese Olson is going to be a casualty in this trade. And I've got 2 on the table. The first one is the more, hey, I probably should do that. It's Paul Skeens. A potential, you know he's going to develop. He's 25. He's younger than Reese Olson. A couple more years of team control. Just 1, actually. But looking at his performance the last 2 seasons, this one's kind of taking a shot, right? In real life, the guy's absolutely nasty. He's filthy. But is he going to outperform what Reese Olson has already been giving us? I would hope. But I can't say that based on his performance. Also, the only way that I can get this deal done with Reese Olson is if I give up Alejandro Kirk, which then I do have to take another shot on a catcher like Henry Davis, who hasn't played a full season, and the only time he has played like 100 games, this is what he put up, which isn't bad, but again, hasn't played a full season. Don't really know if he can repeat that. And then Andy Rodriguez hasn't been good. So am I willing to lose some offensive production to take a chance on Paul Skeens and also Henry Davis, which then I would just throw in any prospect to get the deal done? I like it. It's exciting. I feel like this, you know, if Skeens goes crazy, we're easily one of the best teams in baseball. So there's that. But I could also take a little bit more of a safe approach, go back to the Giants, which the team isn't that crazy, and go, hey, Logan Webb, contract year, could potentially walk. Let me take him off your hands. He's been good. He's been consistent. He's been sitting in the threes. The whip's been 1.2 or lower every single year. And this one's a little bit easier. It's Reese Olson. It's Tyler Holton. And then it's basically any prospect to get the deal done, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can throw in Corey Joyce, and that's the deal. Do I take the safer option in Logan Webb, or do I take the riskier option in Paul Skeens, which is a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, and I feel like you guys would like it more? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take the Paul Skeens deal. So I know, the trade, slightly unrealistic. But if we take a look at the team, I feel like, you know what? Yeah, we've cycled in one or two new starters, you know, at least what the third and fourth season or the second season, like Bueller, then Cease. Now we have Alcantara, now we have Skeens. But I feel like if you're trying to win, you're definitely going to try to acquire the best pitchers possible, and you're going to sign some players that need to take you to the next level. Bullpen, I feel like that's kind of a revolving door for most teams anyways. You're trying to acquire the best players possible. The Mason Miller trade was a little crazy, and obviously now I have a new closer in Andres Munoz after AJ Minter left. That was just an older player that the contract expired. I decided to go after a guy who had a crazy good season, and outside of 2026 has been fairly reliable for the Mariners. Paid a lot for him, but at 29 years old, I figured, you know what, let's give him a 5-year deal. Let's lock him up. Let's make him our closer for the future. And you know what? I feel like now looking at this team, you know, you've got Job, you've got McGraw, who's homegrown because we drafted him. Job, homegrown. You've got Skubal, who's been, I feel like, a little unlucky. ERAs haven't been the best, but if you take a look at his FIP, I feel like the team has been letting him down a little bit. So I feel like he's been a little unlucky throughout this entire rebuild. He's still our ace, and if you take a look at the team here, this is really good. Alcantara replaced Cease. Cease was a trader, went to the Guardians, so we signed Alcantara for 18 mil on sort of a bounce back deal because he had a 4.15 ERA last year. I still think he's going to be pretty good. Same age as Dylan Cease also, so we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I really like the team. We also still do have Jack Griffin, who could potentially stand in for McGraw if things go poorly. Also have like 9 different pitchers on waivers currently, so we'll see how that goes. I do want to give Montero a chance. I know recently he made his debut. I believe he did. I believe I read that right. But he just hasn't been doing great in AAA, so I just really haven't had the confidence to give it to him. So we'll see what happens this year. He's definitely on my radar if things don't go correctly. Transactions wise, I do have a couple pending claims with Avila, who looks decent. I'm gonna see if I can sneak him into AAA, get him through waivers. And the other one was Michael Grove, who also looks pretty decent attribute wise. So I might try to sneak him through waivers and see what happens if the claims go through. Offensively, Vladdy is in the team, and now Henry Davis is going to take over for catcher for Kirk. I feel like catcher has been a little bit of a revolving door for us just because we haven't been getting the offensive production. We finally got it with Alejandro Kirk, but to make the deal possible for Skeens, we had to get rid of him. So now Henry Davis steps in, and I feel like we're going to go with something like this. Clark is going to face righties. Iglesias is going to face lefties. And we brought in Luis Garcia on a $8 million deal just to kind of help us out off the bench. Hit 27 home runs last year, so could start for us if Keith or Young have a little bit of a down season. And then Perez is a little bit of a worry for me, which if things don't go well, then we'll shuffle the lineup around once again. So defensively, we're not the best, but contact and pitching, we are the best on paper. I'm really hoping this team finally performs. I feel like we've definitely got the team to do it. I just need it to all go right, and for the Guardians to just get lost. I'm tired of them. Let's finish off the season. So the season finished 95-67, so not as good as the previous 2 seasons, but at least we won the division once again. And can we stay away from Cleveland this time? Yes, but we do have to either face the Yankees or the Rangers, which yeah, can't be good. Alrighty, so as a team, we finished 3rd in batting average, which is huge. Runs, we were a top 10 team in 7th with 839 runs. Home runs, did we put up a good number? 12th is all right. I guess we could take that. And if we take a quick look at maybe like ERA, just to kind of get an idea where we were a top 5 team, which is pretty good to see. I'm pretty happy with that. If we take a look around the league at award winners, Corey Seager was MVP, which, okay, that's a pretty good season. 50 home runs for Tristan Casas. Mark Vientos with 47 home runs. Okay, all right, MVP for him. Corey Seager, obviously we saw that. Ricky Tiedemann was the Cy Young winner. Walker Buehler also in the mix. This is probably my biggest mess up. I probably should have kept him along throughout the entire rebuild. 15 mil that one season, and then we could have gotten probably another similar contract. What did he sign for? Like 23 mil? Yeah, definitely. This is probably my big miss for the rebuild. I should have kept him. He was really good. Spencer Strider won it on the other side. Batting title went to Ellie De La Cruz along with Corey Seager. Reliever of the year was Joe Jimenez and Edwin Diaz. And then Bryce Eldridge along with Dave McGraw, Rookie of the Year, which is huge. But I'm kind of intrigued because like he was okay. He wasn't bad. 32 starts with 21 quality starts. Actually, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's talk about the team now. So this is what we're going to rock with for the postseason. Jackson Jobe had a little bit of a down year, which is a little disappointing. As you can see, he only started 19 because I moved him to the bullpen, hoping that we can maybe dip that ERA down under 5, maybe into the low 4s, and I just couldn't get him down there. So unfortunate. He did give us a couple decent outings throughout the rebuild though, and still only 25. I fully expect him to develop further. Dave McGraw is obviously going to be in the pitching staff. I just don't know because like I'm looking at Jake Griffin here and 13 starts over 80 innings and he was pretty solid. So I feel bad taking out Dave McGraw, but I feel like he's kind of on a cold streak. Jake Griffin's right in the hot hand. I feel like we should rock with the hot hand for the postseason, and the Rookie of the Year can still be part of the team. It's just maybe in a long relief role. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe if Jake Griffin has a bad first outing, then we'll flip them, but we'll go from there. Pedro Avila, we got the claim for him, and he was fantastic over 50 innings, like really, really good. Jason Foley kind of just seems like he's a 4 ERA pitcher. I mean, it's not the worst. Hayden Birdsong was a fantastic pickup for us. Brian Hudson struggled a little bit, and we also decided to give Tyler Holton an opportunity, and he only got 4 innings in the time that he was called up, so similar numbers if you look at just the ERA and WHIP. So I figured let's just run with that, and we should be fine. And then Mason Miller, what a pickup he's been. Yes, he had like that rough 4.24 ERA season, but second season he was good, so I can't complain about that at all. I kind of like what he did for us. And then Andres Munoz was good, was very good. If we take a look at our starters, Skubal was fantastic. We have that. Those first 2 seasons were a little bit of a bummer, but since then he's been fantastic for us. Love to see it. Alcantara got that ERA under 4, which I'm pretty happy with, but again, could have had Walker Buehler do very similar numbers. Paul Skeens got that ERA under 4, which was a huge pickup for us. Really like it. Yeah, the whip's a little bit high, but I still feel pretty good about this pickup for the team. And then of course we took a quick look at Jake Griffin. He was solid, 3.5 ERA over 13 starts. I'm pretty confident with him, especially with him right in the hot hand heading into the playoffs. Feeling pretty good about that. Did we have, let's take a quick look at awards. 1 all-star appearance. Anything for us? No. All-star for Paul Skeens. Was that this year? Was that this year? It was this year. Okay, so he was an all-star for the Tigers. Nothing for Griffin. Looks like Jackson. Oh, he was an all-star last year? That's huge. That's huge. Any other Rookie of the Year? We saw that, and it doesn't look like we have an all-star appearance for Mason Miller and also Andres Munoz. So that's good. We had a couple awards for our players. Malloy didn't get a single at bat this year, which is kind of crazy. Colt Keith sadly lost his second base job. Just wasn't putting up good offensive numbers, which is super disappointing. And it kind of looks like it's an every other year type thing for him. So there's that. Max Clark was okay, but we're going to give the job to Iglesias full time. Dylan Dingler, he was a backup catcher throughout this entire rebuild. I think we gave him like one chance to earn a spot, and it wasn't great. A guy I gave way too much time to was Spencer Torkelson. That was another mistake of this rebuild. Holy cow. And then if we take a look at our team, this guy was low-key underrated. He was just an on-base machine. Wenzel Perez, take a bow. This year the power definitely took a step back, but pretty good for him. Riley Green, 99 overall. This guy was disgusting. This guy was unbelievable. Fantastic player throughout the entire rebuild. Really took a step up in the power department. Awards, a home run champion, couple gold gloves, all-star, batting titles, silver slugger, MVP. That's a pretty good cabinet right there. Vladdy also had a really good season. Sadly, he is starting to regress. But again, if we take a look at awards, let's see here. We've got, what year did he join us? 2026. So we have a silver slugger, couple all-stars, and that's it. But hey, I'll take 40 home runs, 30 home runs, 30, 38, 36 home runs, and the numbers that he put up. He was great for the team. Justice Big B, again, was really solid. 28 home runs with 100 RBIs, 30 doubles, 370 on base percentage. I'll take that for sure. Jace Young, it looks like between him and Colt Keith, this was the guy. A potential now, 83 overall. The hitting stats look fantastic. Decent fielding too. And I mean, just the last 2 seasons, you can tell he's definitely taken a step up. An award, Rookie of the Year in 2025. Luis Garcia took over at second base for Colt Keith, and he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. Good average, good OPS, decent amount of home runs, doubles. And you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it for a guy that had to step in because Colt Keith kind of let us down this year. Hey, not a bad season. Henry Davis took over for Alejandro Kirk, gave us 31 home runs out of the catcher spot. Yeah, I like that. Leo Jimenez, this guy. I mean, talk about a player. I mean, not, you know, mid-teens for home runs, high 20s for doubles, good average on base percentage, decent OPS too, couple of awards, couple gold gloves at shortstop. I mean, thank you Toronto Blue Jays for this shortstop. And then Ruben Iglesias, he wasn't like a crazy upgrade on Max Clark. Like, average isn't that great. The on-base percentage is good though, so I guess we'll take that. But you know what? I'll take it. You know, he's up to an 80 overall, and for a player that we drafted, pretty happy that we got him into the team. And then that's back to the top of the lineup. So like, this is the team for the postseason. We talked about the pitching. Who are we going to face? We are going to face the Rangers. Let's see what they've got going on for their team. Is this going to be a bummer? That's a good offensive team. Pitching though, ooh, that pitching looks rough. We just got to limit their offense and we should definitely win. All right, so here we go. Scooble versus Mitch Bratt, and we win 3-2. Alcantara versus Jose Corniel. We lose. Oh no. Paul Skeens gets us the win, and the rookie against Kumar Rocker. We win 6-1. There we go. Is it Kumar or is it Kumar? Kumar Rocker. That's what it is. It's not Kumar. It's Kumar. I remember now. Now, the Twins, division rival. What are we looking like here? They are right here. Okay. You know what? It's one of those teams that's sneaky good. 100% it's one of those teams that's sneaky good. Yeah. I'm seeing like 370 on base percentages and everything. What about the pitching? Yeah, this might be the toughest matchup yet, because like the Mets and the Brewers, I guess the Brewers do have Soto, don't they? Yeah, this might suck. All right, so who's pitching here? Scooble. How did Griffin do? Pretty good. I mean, Alcantara, man. I mean, McGraw also kind of sucked. I was thinking maybe slide him into the rotation at like an opportunity, but I don't know about that. All right, so the Twins, here we go. McClanahan versus Scooble. We lose 3-2. Not great, but we win the next game. Skeens wins 11-1. Griffin wins 2-1. And can Scooble close it out for us? No. Alcantara, please. There we go. We're in the World Series. We're taking on the Brewers, which, hey, I just saw Alek Manoah as a pitcher for them, so they clearly have made some changes to this team. Okay. Steven Kwan, Juan Soto. Let's see. That's it for the offense, but that's a good offensive team. That's a really good offensive team. They've got Cartaya in the team, Jose Siri. Okay. Manoah, Mizorowski, Rogers, Kelman. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be a really difficult game. So Skeens, I think we go Scooble, maybe Griffin, and then Alcantara. I think that's what we do for the World Series. How's the lineup looking? Everybody doing well? Big B, we should maybe drop him a couple spots in the lineup, maybe one spot. And then Iglesias maybe comes out. Is there anybody that's hitting well on the bench? Not a single at bat off the bench. Okay. Let's go with Max Clark against righties. I'm feeling good about that. Or hold on. Maybe we take him out. We go Colt Keith, and we just kind of move a couple pieces around. And let's see, lefties. We'll lower him in the lineup a little bit. Maybe go something like that. And then Iglesias is kind of struggling there too. Do we have anybody? I mean, do we throw Colt Keith in the lefty lineup too, and just see maybe he's the game changer for this World Series? Let's give it a shot. So here we go. Paul Skeens, Alek Manoah. We win 10-9 in the first game. Good Lord. Second game, we win 10-0. The offense came to play. Third game, 7-8. Oh, we lost 3-7 there. Uh-oh. 7-6. It comes down to this game right here. Skubal versus Wikelman Gonzalez, who has a 14 ERA. Can we do it? We do 2-1. Talk about a tight game to close it out, but we win the World Series. We end the rebuild, and Ruben Iglesias, World Series MVP, playoff MVP, went to Vlad Jr. 500 average with 2 home runs and 2 RBIs. I bet he went 2 for 4 with 2 solo shots. That's what he did in the World Series. I bet it was. What did he have? Like 41 at bats or 30? I think he did. I think he only got. Did he only get like 4 ABs in the World Series? I think he did, because he's only at 41. I feel like he might have. Let's see, what did Colt Keith do? He hit 190, so it really wasn't that much of an improvement. But looking at the offense, man, like the top 3 hit 300. We had Jace Young hit about 250. Henry Davis hit really well. 345 for Leo Jimenez. And if we take a look at our pitchers really quickly, Jake Griffin held his own throughout the entire postseason. And I'm actually pretty happy with the team. Tarek Skubal, very good. And let's talk about the bullpen. Couple decent names there, but it seems like we also couldn't rely on a lot of guys in the bullpen. But overall, we won it, and the Tigers finally won a World Series, or at least another World Series. And I hope you enjoyed it. I really like this team. I feel like we got a good mix of going out and signing and trading for some really high like game impact / like game-changing players like Vlad Jr. We went out and got Paul Skeens in the end. A couple pitchers really helped us out. Even getting some underrated players like Leo Jimenez that really helped us out at shortstop. But at the same time, we got a lot of the homegrown players: Riley Green, Perez, Jace Young, Colt Keith. Who else? Max Clark even made a debut. We've got Malloy, Big B, a lot of the pitchers too. I thought this was a good mix of both. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button down below in the comment section. Let me know what team we should rebuild next. And if you're looking for some more rebuild content, you should check out the rebuild on screen. We rebuilt the New York Mets, who have had an interesting season. So I think you should check out what we did to them to win them another World Series.